The following is a presentation of the Big Ten Conference.
Kirk Cignetti and the Hoosiers' final tune-up and our focus before the conference season arrives. The Week 2 heavy hitters, Fernando Mendoza and Elijah Surratt, look to be big hitters here in Week 3. The Friday Night Lights hit Bloomington, and Hoosier the Bison is ready. The 22nd ranked Indiana Hoosiers look to go 3-0 on the season. Football on the Big Ten Network is presented by Stanley Steamer. The 8th meeting between Indiana State and Indiana from Merchants Bank Field at Memorial Stadium. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome into the booth. Lisa Byington alongside the former Northwestern captain and my bow tie man, Jared Thomas. You're looking good, my friend.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Glad to be back.
Glad to have you back. Melanie Ricks is with us on the sideline. We know Kirk Cignetti is all about improvement. He has seen that in his team from Week 1 to Week 2, but let's be honest, Jared, they got the conference season looming after this week. They need to play buttoned-up football here tonight.
All he said to us was, we haven't played that clean brand of football for the entirety of a game just yet. Too many missed assignments, too many missed tackles, missed opportunities. The sense of urgency just has to increase, especially with conference play coming up.
10 straight wins ties a program record. 11 wins that they could get tonight would be a new home program record. Well, talk about improvement. Their quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, was exactly that. Didn't throw a touchdown pass in Week 1, and then he blew up for a career-high 4 of them last week.
That's exactly right. And Coach Mike Shanahan, offensive coordinator, said he just trusted it a little bit more. Something that Mendoza said, he wants to be a point guard, getting it to his playmakers. And on this highlight reel, you see E.J. Williams Jr., and then you see the man, the myth, the legend, and that's Elijah Surratt, just getting it to the guys who can make plays and ultimately makes him look better.
You mentioned Elijah Surratt. Hit 4 touchdown passes, and 3 of them went to Elijah.
That guy comes from humble beginnings, all the way from St. Francis, FCS All-American, and now he's a household name, always open, and they didn't get it to him in Week 1. They didn't match that same energy in Week 2, and you can see exactly why. 3 touchdown receptions going to a big-time win last week against Kennesaw State.
And maybe game 41 here with a catch in this game. It's the most in FBS here right now. Melanie Ricks, we know that Kirk Cignetti's not going to mince any words, and he hasn't done that evaluating his team so far.
Yeah, absolutely not, Lisa. Jared, I have to say, love the bow tie, but also something else that Jared said. This team is trying to play a complete game, a clean game. And like Lisa said, he certainly doesn't mince his word. That is Coach Sig. And he talked both privately and publicly about what he needs from his team. On Wednesday on his radio show, he said, we've got people that need to learn how to do things like championship programs do things day in and day out. When you're not in there at practice, I don't want to turn around and see 3 guys having a BS session. It is not a social event. And Coach Sig did say that. We'll see a lot from this team today, and we'll see just how prepared they are based on practice all week, and of course, the product that we'll see out on the field, Lisa.
Yeah. This program has never lost to Indiana State. I've talked about the 8th meeting between these two programs. It is nice and toasty here on this Friday night. Look at the weather in Bloomington, 83 degrees. My partner Jared's already sweating it up like a good offensive lineman would. And I love that there's wind right now is not a factor here for these teams.
There's just certain environments that aren't necessarily conducive for offensive linemen, and a hot press box, I think, is one of them.
I would agree with that. Indiana State won the toss, and they deferred for the second half. Both these teams coming in a 2-0 record. Indiana State out of the Missouri Valley Conference and actually receiving votes in the AFCA FCS coaches poll, feeling good about their start here so far. Look at Mendoza, who's waiting for his turn. He'll get the first crack at it here on this Friday night. Sebastian Lopez gets us started here from Bloomington. And Hemby gonna test his luck across the 20. Hemby's got some smooth groove and gets tripped up across the 35.
That's someone that's transferred in from Maryland, Lisa. He's electric. I'm sure we're going to talk about him a lot on the broadcast, but starting it off with special teams.
You look at Fernando Mendoza. The transfer from California had that career-high day against Kennesaw State, his first 4-touchdown game. But his career numbers awfully solid. Committed to California right out of high school, and now found his way back here to Bloomington. Emby is your starting back. He threads it out to Omar Cooper Jr., who picks up the first down and more, taking a few tacklers with him. J.T. Anderson just really couldn't pull him down. It's a gain of 15 on the first play.
But Lisa, that's something that's synonymous with Omar Cooper's name. He's a guy that's going to break tackles 35 yards a week ago after contact, and that absolutely includes that 75-yard reverse that he took to the house.
Yeah, 75 yards he did against Kennesaw State last week. His 4th year at Indiana, his best year coming last year. Maybe he could build off of that here this year. 1st and 10, Mendoza all kinds of time to survey his options across the middle. It's another big gainer. It's another first down. And the pass complete to E.J. Williams Jr. So 2 chances, 2 pass completions, and a gain of 18.
You can't see it on the replay, but Surratt was at the bottom of your screen, and it was E.J. Williams that he actually decided to go to. E.J. Williams standing, looking the gun barrel right down the middle, takes the big hit, but gets a first down for the Hoosiers.
Bolden stays in motion. And there's Surratt's first grab, and 41 straight games with a catch.
A hefty price that you have to pay when you're an RPO team. Sometimes throwing into that second window, getting that first defender out of the way. As a receiver, you're big and you're tough like Surratt. You take that big-time hit you see coming in there.
Yeah, you can see how slow he was trotting off the field, too. So 3 plays, 3 completions, 3 passes, 3 first downs. What about that for the start here for the Hoosiers? As we'll take a timeout, but keep an eye on Surratt. They'll go into the medical tent.
Lisa, it looked like as Surratt came down with the football, it was Jorge Valdez that came in on a defensive player, I would imagine, leading with the crown of his helmet. You know that the understanding of the targeting rule. A defenseless receiver getting targeted with the crown of the head in any way, shape, or form usually is going to warrant that targeting call. So wait for an official word, but as the replay rolls,
yeah, as you said, a defensive player can't use any part of the body. Any part of the body is a hit above the shoulders with forcible contact to the head neck area. And this is what they're reviewing. Jorge Valdez, one of their top defensive players as well. Time to bring in our rules analyst, Mike Pereira. What are your thoughts on this play, Mike?
Lisa, I don't like it as targeting. The one thing he does is he turns his head to the side, which is good. Now, he doesn't have to. This is a defenseless player, so it's contact to the head and neck area. But to me, he's kind of bracing himself. This, to me, is not what targeting was really designed for. We'll see what they do, but my preference would be not to have targeting.
So it's that small motion, Mike, where you see him kind of turn and pull back.
It was a legal hit.
There you go. Mike, you're 1 for 1 out of the gates. You're like Indiana's offense. You're perfect. So as we were saying, 3 pass completions on 3 attempts, and the latest to Surratt, who got banged up, went into the medical tent. But with that catch, 41 straight games with a reception. Hemby's first touch. Don't forget about him in the backfield. He's brought down at the 10-yard line, and Valdez brings him down. A gain of 9 for Hemby, and now Indiana sitting in the red zone. That's been the big topic for this offense the last couple of weeks. We're not great in week 1. 4 of 7 in red zone trips against Old Dominion, and a perfect 7 for 7 in week 2 against Kennesaw State. You saw Surratt, who's back on the sideline here, and just dropped. And Kaylon Black with his first touch. It's Alex Rose a vicious stop in the backfield. Brings up 3rd down.
Lisa, the only thing I don't know on that play, I see Riley Nowakowski going down inside. I don't know if Rose was the guy he was supposed to be blocking, but that doesn't matter because he was the one that came in as a heat-seeking missile and laid the punishment on Hemby. 3rd down for the Hoosiers.
9 touchdowns, a couple of field goals. I mentioned the red zone trips here this year. On 3rd and medium, the ball is loose. The ball pops loose. Indiana scrambling for it, recovers. And thank goodness, it's Pat Coogan, the center, who pounced on it. And that goes for 6. They needed 4, but that's the unconventional way of getting the first down.
In the offensive line world, we always talk about running and finishing to the football. This is exactly why. You just never know what you're going to come up with. The Notre Dame transfer, 28 starts, and probably one of the more important plays in his lofty career. Just jumps on the ball, shows the athleticism to recover there, and 1st down for the Hoosiers.
And so now 1st and goal. Movement by Brady on the right side. Mendoza, again, he's got some time to throw. He tucks and goes. Fernando Mendoza, touchdown, Indiana!
We talked about it at the start of the broadcast, Lisa. Mendoza wants to be a point guard. And when you're a point guard on the hardwood, you're looking to get others involved. But sometimes you have to take matters into your own hands. Self-diagnosed quarterback run, 6 points for the men in red.
You're speaking my language, my friend. I am a point guard. Radicic, the kick is up and good. Well, the drive started with 3 passes. It finished with 4 runs.
Once again, like I said, Mendoza looks left, doesn't like it, looks right, doesn't like it. He said, why not get into the end zone for the first score of the day?
Well, Indiana looked really good on that first drive, opening up a 7-0 start, and Fernando Mendoza can't do much better, really, for 3 for 3 on that drive.
Lisa, they just did something they haven't done all season. March right down on their first offensive possession and scored a touchdown.
It's because you asked the coaches about it yesterday.
That was the alley-oop as you being a point guard right off the glass for me, so I appreciate that.
That's right. All right, so it's Indiana State's first offensive series, and Keegan Patterson trotting out there. He was the backup quarterback. Now he's turned the starter because of the injury to their starter, Elijah Owens, last week and week number 2. His first career start, and Indiana State was able to beat Eastern Illinois.
I thought he got some nice praise from defensive coordinator from
Yeah,
the
he
Hoosiers,
did.
Brian Haynes.
There's Elijah Owens there on the sideline. A collarbone injury, according to Kurt Mallory and the coaching staff. They're hoping that he would be able to possibly return here this week, but he's going to be really active there on the sideline, and felt like he was a major contributor as a vocal leader last week that helped to the win. Across the middle, the ball's loose. It's broken up by Amari Farrell and the intended receiver, Brian Domino.
But this is some of the open voids that Coach Cignetti was talking about with the defense. Guys just not totally being on the same page. Amari Farrell doing a nice job coming up to clean up some of the loose change with the big hit, but still that defensive secondary just has to tighten things up communication-wise.
Yeah, Kurt Cignetti really, really strong with his words, especially with the safeties in that secondary. And Amari Farrell, one of those, trying to test him a little bit. Elijah Hardy making the play for Indiana. 3rd and 6 here on this first drive. And Kurt Cignetti's already in his pose there on the sideline. We're accustomed to seeing. Our first look at Kurt Mallory, the son of the legendary Indiana coach, Bill Mallory, the all-time winningest Hoosier coach. And Patterson gets swallowed up. Tyreek Tucker getting to him. And the first sack of the night.
But Lisa, we just talked about that secondary. This was a sack actually forced by Devin Boykin from the slot. Gets the pressure, running back does pick it up, but that allowed Tucker to get in there and gets his hand around Patterson, gets him down for the sack.
Tucker, more of a rotational player last year, has started now 3 games here for the Hoosiers. His second year in Indiana, he's one of those James Madison transfers. So loyal to Curt Cignetti, followed their coach last year. And all kinds of success, obviously, getting to the college football playoff. Here's Jonathan Brady, who's already taken one back. Sheds a tackler, trying to work his way over to the 45-yard line. And there's a flag on the play on the far side. A kick of 45, a return of 14. And J.T. Anderson making the tackle.
During the kick, holding, number 80, receiving team. 10-yard penalty enforced from the end of the kick. 1st and 10, Indiana.
That's Charlie Becker, the sophomore wide receiver, with the penalty. Indiana's offense goes back to work after this. Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by Stanley Steamer. Game day gets messy, Stanley Steamer brings the clean. Now, Bill and Curt Mallory, the football family, Hoosier royalty, and always special for Curt to return back to Indiana and Bloomington. He said, I got married here in Bloomington. My 2 boys went here. Lake Monroe, he brought that up. He said, when we grew up, that was my favorite pastime to go out there with the family. We had a boat, one of my favorite things that my dad used to do. And of course, he and his brothers following in the coaching footsteps of the great, late Bill Mallory. Pass complete to E.J. Williams Jr., stretching for the sticks. Picks up about 7 yards here, brings up 2nd down. Bill Mallory, 13 seasons as the head coach from 84 to 96. Mentioned he's the all-time winningest coach in program history in 6 bowl game appearances. In fact, when Curt took the job at Indiana State, he said the first person he called, of course, was his dad. It was a gain of 9, so 2nd and 1 here from Mendoza. He's done a good job picking and choosing his moments to do exactly that and move his feet.
It's a nice job there, just assessing what it looks like down the field. Was looking at a double move to the boundary for Elijah Surratt. Didn't like it. But Lisa, I want to go back to your point about Coach Mallory. Yes, he called Dad when he got the job, and then after the first season, going 0-11, he called Dad again, wanting to know, could you give me some advice? And Dad simply said, I had the same result in my first season. Stay the course. That's exactly what he's done. And in season 8, officially 9, Coach Mallory doing a nice job for the Sycamores.
And Curt told his dad, yeah, I remember that Indiana team. I was like a freshman in high school. A pickup of the 1st down. And still moving, it's Omar Cooper Jr. stretching for the sticks. Kamal Clark, the talented, strong safety, pushes him out of bounds.
I didn't want to show
give him the 1st down, Jared.
I didn't want to show my hand, Lisa, but Omar Cooper Jr., a season ago, 24 of his 28 catches went for either a 1st down or a touchdown. What does that mean? The first guy isn't going to get him down. That's already twice now to start this game, breaking tackles and another 1st down
Correction,
for the Hoosiers.
You can always show your hand. It is 2nd and short.
Okay,
Full
so
code.
they changed their mind on that. So 2nd and short, real short. Mendoza, a perfect 5 for 5. A 4-receiver set with Himby. He's going to pick up the 1st down for Indiana and push his way to the 50, a gain of 3 yards.
Some deception there from Mendoza. Actually did the quarterback keeper, fooled everyone on the field in white for the Sycamores. Picked up the 1st down, doing something a bit unconventional, using his legs to churn more 1st downs and some more positive yards.
Now it's Lee Beebe Jr. in the backfield here for Indiana. They'll do a hefty rotation of those 3 backs as Mendoza goes in the air. Pass is complete, shedding off tacklers across the 30. Charlie Becker looking for more. A big gainer. 31 yards on the catch.
That was someone that was talked about yesterday that said, hey, wherever this game goes, who should we be looking out for? Becker was at the top of that list. And then it was a week ago, it was Alberto Mendoza that found Becker for a touchdown, and then Big Brother doing the same thing. Just finding holes in the defense, sits down, and then shows the toughness, churning out more yards for another Hoosier first down.
It's Becker's 4th catch of the season and the 4th catch of his career. Haven't catch until this year, airing it out, looking for Surratt. Well, back in this game here for Indiana after taking a brief trip into the medical tent. And a flag in the backfield.
I'm not going to jump the gun, but I do think it may be a
Personal
roughing
foul,
the passer.
face mask, number 29 of the offense. 15-yard penalty in the previous spot. First down.
Ooh, that hurts. Lee Beebe Jr.
One of the 3 running backs, Lee Beebe Jr., you see coming across on rolls, on the protection, dips his pads, but he doesn't dip his targeting with his hands. It just gets a handful of face mask there, and when it's out in the open like that, refs are going to get you every time.
The ball was on the 24. They're backed up now to the 39-yard line and brings up 1st and 25. Mendoza, delayed handoff to Beebe, trying to regain some of that yardage they lost on the penalty. It's a pickup of 8.
Would you like to be in my seat, Lisa? Because that's exactly what a play caller does. You get a penalty, you go backwards. Let's just find an easy call to go get some of that yardage back to make second down more manageable.
Mike Shanahan, the offensive coordinator in his 2nd year, 35 years old, 4 years at James Madison. He coached with that man, Curt Cignetti. Curt Cignetti brought over about 6 of his coaches last year, and he's kept his coordinators with him through 4 different stops. Cooper Jr. again. And gets them back about right where they began. Right back to about the 24-yard line, a pickup of 6. Valdez with another tackle.
To your point, Coach Shanahan always yesterday talked about being balanced offensively. That means the offensive line understands that they are going to pass the ball, and the receivers understand that they are going to run the ball. But I think the Sycamore defense has to understand if you continue to play off coverage, the Hoosiers are going to take advantage with the dink and the dunks and picking up positive yardage, even though the pass doesn't travel that far. Just doing a nice job taking what the defense is giving you.
3rd and 11. It's an offense that's had all kinds of success. 500+ yards of total offense in the first 2 weeks. And Mendoza finds Jonathan Brady for the first time. And twirling him out of bounds is J.T. Anderson. A pickup of 11. And how about that? They were backed up and now gained the first down.
So the negative on this drive is you get penalties twice in consecutive drives that take you back. You get a penalty on the second one, a fumble on the first one, but what do? Continue to battle, get a first down there on a pivotal 3rd down, and on the first drive, you get a touchdown right after that fumble. Who's just rolling early.
It was 1st and 25. The ball's now on the 13. Cooper Jr. And it's straight for the end zone. Touchdown, Indiana. Cooper Jr.'s first of the season.
One of my favorite things that Elijah Surratt talked about just yesterday when we sat down with him, Lisa, wasn't about catching the football. He said, no block, no rock. And that was because he escorted Omar Cooper into the end zone. Watch his block right there. Shoves him out of bounds. He understands as he looks ahead to the next level, it's going to be more physical perimeter blocking than it is catching the football.
Cooper Jr. now 1 touchdown in the air, 1 touchdown on the ground if you factor in last week. Mendoza 9 for 9 passing with the touchdown pass and a rushing touchdown. And Indiana has opened up 14-0 here in Bloomington. Omar Cooper Jr.'s first receiving touchdown of the season puts Indiana up 14-0. Right now, the first 250 fans will get $20 off a Big Ten Plus annual pass. Stream nearly 200 Indiana games, plus 2,500 more events across the Big Ten season. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to Big10Plus.com and make sure you enter FB20 when selecting an annual pass at checkout to take advantage of this offer. So far, so good here for Indiana. On both sides of the ball, 7-yard run by Mendoza, the 13-yard catch by Cooper, the 2 touchdown scores. The first couple of series here for this Indiana offense, and the Indiana defense now coming back out there.
But I feel as Indiana goes throughout the rest of this game, one thing that they're going to look out, depending on how it plays out the rest of this contest, is the mistakes that didn't hurt them in this first quarter so far. But as we go to conference play, as we're looking at the Rashad Rochelle for the Sycamores offense, electric guy, in special teams too, 751 return yards a season ago. Drew Page, center for the Sycamores offensive line, a guy that reported in the summertime and was elected a captain. That speaks to his leadership, holding down the 5 guys inside.
Patterson will go and picks up about 4 yards there. It's Hardy who makes the play. Tell me about this Indiana defense.
This is a defensive front, Kalon Wyatt, that came in as a transfer from Maryland, really took the reins on that defensive end position. And then you have Mikhail Kamara, the stud position, outside linebacker type rusher that came back, even though he had prospects to go to the NFL. And then the secondary, some guys we've already touched on so far.
They're pursuing, and that's one guy that could do exactly that. Aiden Fisher pursuing and pushing out of bounds. Now, Fisher, as we know, he's the leader, he's the vocal guy, he's got the green dot that the coaches communicate with. He does a little bit of everything.
That was one thing that Kellen Wyatt talked about, being at Maryland last year, playing against the Hoosiers. Aiden Fisher can be heard from the Terrapins sideline. That just speaks to the vocal leadership that you have with Aiden Fisher out there at that middle linebacker position.
Again, one of those other James Madison transfers, was the first-team All-American linebacker in Indiana program history last year. And the noise now coming here at Memorial Stadium on 3rd and 8. Pressure coming, pass broken up. And that started with Kamara in the backfield.
One thing that Coach Haynes talked about, defensive coordinator, some of the things Kamara is going to have to do is going to be self-manufactured. Beat the offensive lineman up and under, flush Patterson out of the pocket, allowed the secondary to rally to the PBU.
It's Jonathan Brady now back to receive this punt. Another 3 and out here for this Indiana State offense. Indiana 9 first downs. Indiana State 6 total plays. That is the difference between the offensive stories here. The punt partially blocked. Now downed at about the 48-yard line. Clay Connor got a piece of that. A punt of 30. Beautiful look on this Friday night in Bloomington.
There, but Stephen Daly doing a nice job. Defensive lineman tracking down the punter, bringing him down, getting the Hoosiers started in advantageous position.
There was an offside call, which was the reason why they did the punt for a second time. Indiana State trying to roll the dice. It's not paying off. Excellent field position here for the Hoosiers to start this drive. The ball's on the 31. A little pass and catch play to Surratt. Gain of 6. And one of the best games of his career. Last week, 9 catches, 3 touchdowns, 97 yards.
For those watching at home, you're watching this offense for the Hoosiers just take perimeter shots. When you're on that play call list, it's not complicated. If the defense is going to continue to give it to you, why not take advantage of it?
And Mendoza doesn't make it look complicated to you right now. He's a perfect 10 for 10. Make it 11 for 11 for Mendoza, finding Cooper again. He picks up the first down, is pushed out at about the 12-yard line.
Lisa, let's go to football school for just a second. This is what they call free access throws. When the defense is off, playing off coverage, the hitches, the slants, the throws that don't take much thinking, they're quick hitting for the receivers. That's exactly what they're doing. Free access right there. The DB is off. Omar just does a quick hitch, 3 steps, turn and settle, and then once again, just turn upfield and get as many yards as you can.
11 for 11 for Mendoza to 5 different Hoosier receivers. And Mendoza will key. Nowhere to go. Indiana State read it perfectly. Amon Yongpong in the backfield.
A group for the Sycamores, that defensive coordinator Elson said that they felt forces were meeting in the trenches. Their defensive line against this Hoosiers offensive line. We saw it there, getting an upfield charge, getting them down.
Well, perfect 2 for 2 in the red zone. It's coming off a perfect 7 for 7 last week. Certainly an emphasis from week 1 to week 2, and it will continue to be an emphasis here throughout the season. On 2nd and 12. Mendoza pulls, and he's pulled down, spun around by Amon Yongpong.
The struggles in the red zone to start the season against Old Dominion came as a bit of a surprise, solely because this was an area of the field that IU dominated, best team in the country a year ago, and then you come to this year and had a bit of struggles and just finding ways to just better execute in practice, Coach Shanahan says. So we'll see with this next opportunity that they have if they get more points.
All right, on 3rd and 11, a timeout, so we'll take a timeout.
Lisa, one thing that Coach Cignetti talked about with the report card for his team this week, he said he would give it a B. Although B is a passing grade, I'm not sure if B gets it done, especially with plays like we saw just before break. Cignetti just telling Mendoza, hey, your read bailed, hand the football off. If you go to replay here in a couple of seconds, you will see if he handed that football off, they'd still be running. So Cignetti just encouraging his quarterback, don't make it complicated, hand that football off.
Mendoza across the middle, the strike to Cooper for touchdown number 2 for Omar Cooper Jr.
The Hoosiers just absolutely getting whatever they want offensively. Credit to the defense getting stops, and then the offense doing something with it. Wonderful blitz pickup by the running back, offensive line connected in protection, and Mendoza finding another receiver. Omar Cooper once again for another Hoosier score.
And both of them going for 13 yards in the air, and that one was on 3rd and 11. Nico Radicic. The kick is up and good. And the Hoosiers have put up 21 points on Indiana State. We'll take a 30-second timeout. One more look. Cooper Jr. has found the end zone a couple of times already tonight. We'll be back in 30. About 67 seconds left to play here in this first quarter. Indiana State just going to take the touchback. This Indiana State offense has got to figure some things out against this Hoosier defense.
And it's tough to get started offensively if you can't even get a first down, which is what they've been unable to do thus far. So can't really talk about efficiency or executing with the numbers because they haven't really gotten that first jolt of energy just getting a first down. And for Patterson to take this thing by the horns and maybe orchestrate some positive yards.
Patterson swings it out to Rashad Rochelle. And Jamari Sharp bringing him down.
Sharp,
A gain of 6.
Sharp, one of those guys in the back end, along with Rylan Gandy, a transfer from Pitt, and Amarion Knighton, NIU transfer that has double-digit starts. So lofty expectations for him opposite of D'Angelo Pons.
Yeah, Rochelle is their top target for sure. Had a 40-yard touchdown catch last week against Eastern Illinois. And it's Dion Brown who's getting a look here offensively. Dominique Ratcliffe, a tackle for loss. And a loss of 2 on that play.
This is the defense that Coach Brian Haynes talked about. They're going to come at you. They're going to put the pressure on you. They're not just going to sit back and take it. Key first down attempt here by the Sycamores.
That'll be the final play of the first quarter. So far, this Hoosier defense pitching a shutout, a 21-0 advantage. Hoosier, the Bison, just the way the new Indiana mascot has drawn it up here so far. Friday night in Bloomington. The start of the second quarter is here. Moments ago, Melanie Ricks caught up with Curt Cignetti.
Standing here with Coach Sig, your team is up early, but what do you want to see as far as the sharpest areas of improvement going into the second quarter?
Well, you know, defense has 2 3-and-outs, a chance to get another 3-and-out, but we have 3 penalties, 2 on special teams. Offense, you know, we've made some plays in the air, but, you know, they're mixing it up pretty nice on us. It's hard to argue with 3 touchdowns, but we got to keep the quarterback on rhythm. And in the red area, you know, we got to get the ball out of our hand quicker.
Thanks, Coach.
I think you might like that play from Stephen Daly, a loss of 6, and the second sack of the night here for this Indiana Hoosier defense.
That was a player that defensive coordinator Haynes said he expected to have a breakout game so far, and I think Daly is making him look good. Made the special teams tackle on the fake punt attempt by the Sycamores, and then the sack there. The Kent State transfer from 22 to 24, making his presence known here in Bloomington.
Look, defensive coordinator Brian Haynes didn't waste any words when he talked about Stephen Daly, saying he's one of the most, athletic guys that he's seen here on this team.
Just flows like water, it almost felt like he was saying. Just the athleticism that he shows at that stud position.
Brady looking to try to take one. He's flushed out of bounds across midfield.
Drops punt returned by 0. Jonathan Brady for the Hoosiers.
And total yards here for Indiana. You think about this offense. I mean, it's a mismatch. 190 yards for this offense and -3 total yards of offense here for Indiana State.
But it goes back to the mindset that I think that guy on the screen has. Week 1 against ODU, only 27 points offensively. Felt like they could have scored 50, and it's that play in the margins, miscues in the red zone, something they didn't do in week 1. Missed targeting receivers down the field, something they missed on in week 2. So far, it looks like that offense is flying on all cylinders and executing at a very high level.
Mendoza finds PB Jr. in the air, and they mark it just short of the first down. Mendoza still perfect here tonight, a pickup of 7 and a perfect 13 of 13 in the air for Fernando Mendoza. Make it 14 of 14, and Surratt pushed back just at the sticks, just short of the first down. It's Robinson and Anderson combining to make the play.
You hear so many football talking heads, coaches, enthusiasts talking about offenses or defenses being multiple. What exactly does that mean? That just means you have the ability to do numerous things. One thing for this offense that Coach Shanahan talked about was being a huddle team, something they were going to keep track on. But here, when you get a positive play, let's not huddle. Let's get on the ball as we saw with the previous play, and let's hurry up and get it out.
I mean, an unbelievable start here from Mendoza, who hands off this time. And stretching the extra effort, it's Lee Beebe Jr. picking up the first down, a gain of 7. They needed 1 on 3rd down.
But it goes back to that interview that Melody got with Coach Cignetti. Says we have to keep the quarterback in rhythm. And that's when he gets to the back of his drop, the ball is coming out. The handoffs are there. The run lanes are there. So far, clicking on all cylinders.
Beebe stays in the 3-receiver set. And Beebe's on the left side. Beebe's got some room to move. brought down inside the 10-yard line, brought down hard. Kamal Clark got him good. A pickup of 21.
I want everyone to pay attention to the guy we already called his name today, and that's Pat Coogan, the center. Watch him pull around. The big boy just moving, get around that down block, and then be athletic, get up on the linebacker, create an open lane for your running back.
BB doing a lot of heavy lifting here on this drive. 4 carries, pickup of 1, 2nd and goal. You know, Pat Coogan, what a pickup, his first year at Indiana. Played at Notre Dame in the national championship game. Talking to offensive coordinator Mike Shanahan, he said he's so vocal, I can hear him making calls about, 15 to 20 yards away on the practice field. Mendoza getting challenged, incomplete pass. So he was a perfect 14 of 14 before getting sandwiched by Anderson. JT Anderson getting to him. He was saying,
the only thing we don't know, Lisa,
ruling on the field is an incomplete forward pass.
JT Anderson just doing a nice job being physical and almost got there in enough time to jar that football loose, but you can see Mendoza, I think that arm was still going forward despite the contact to his throwing shoulder. But once again, just the little details, the timing, make sure you're carrying out your fake to influence the defense so that plays like that are eliminated.
Mendoza now at 14 of 15. And Mendoza, number 15, Jared, fails to go 15 of 15.
Dude has just come over from Cal, left Cal as the all-time leader in completion percentage at about 66%, and he's brought that same precision to Bloomington at the helm, at the controls, at the quarterback position.
Timeout,
Indiana. All right, Indiana calls it timeout. We'll take a timeout with them on 3rd and goal. Still to come, the football doubleheader continues out west when UCLA takes on New Mexico at the Rose Bowl tonight at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Well, speaking of UCLA, you know, Hoosier the Bison got like a UCLA type shirt, blazer, whatever that is on, right? Helping to promote our 2nd game on the night.
He brought the beach vibe to Bloomington. As Coach Mallory said, the closest thing we have is Lake Monroe. Quite the beach, but just good enough for Hoosier Bison.
You know how Coach Sig could vibe with this is if Himby could get it across into the end zone. And never look at Curt Cignetti and try to figure out what the score is. Drew Covington ending the play there for Indiana State's defense. His Hoosier team is up 21-0, but you wouldn't know it following him here on the sideline.
But if you look at him when you're watching at home, just think about 2 words: never satisfied. That's until something that we'll tease a little bit later on, until he gets home and enjoys the comfort of his home. But that's somebody that is always looking to just take more and more and more.
Yeah, they're going for it here on 4th down. And a couple flags coming out.
They did not just do that shit.
False start. Offense number 65. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
And so instead of 4th and 2, it's 4th and 7. And with that, the kicking team will come out. You know, we heard Cignetti talk to Melanie, really frustrated with the penalties. A lot of them on special teams, but this one on a false start.
So if you're looking for anything to be better, it's not executing with a 4th touchdown in the first half. Instead, settling for a field goal.
A 25-yarder is good for Radicic. 4 drives and all with scores here for Indiana. Cignetti's crew up 24-0 here in Bloomington. When it was 4th and 2, Carter Smith, the starting left tackle, was the one who committed the penalty. Getting an earful by Kirk Cignetti. Now, a good time, too, to mention that there's been a little bit of movement here on the offensive line. Khalil Benson is unavailable here for Indiana in this first half. And so in that right tackle spot, it's Zen Michalski who's gotten the start on the other side of this offensive line here for Indiana.
Zen's second start in his career, transfer from Ohio State, as you said, Lisa. Feeling it nicely so far with that offense, just executing left and right.
Touchback on the kick. Abbott and the Big Ten are challenging Purdue fans to join the We Give Blood drive. Purdue faces USC this week in a big one. And in the weekly one-up challenge, sign up today to save lives and beat the Trojans. That's a big one, a conference matchup for the Boilermakers in West Lafayette. You got to see Purdue last week.
Yes, I did. That looks like a different Boilermakers team that I'm sure a lot of people are used to. Coach Barry Odom doing a nice job after spending some time in the desert with UNLV.
All right, Indiana State minus 11 rushing yards here for the game. This is a team that has averaged almost 40 points per game at the FCS level, and they've had to take it up a new level here tonight against Indiana. And the pass incomplete. Intended for Domino.
Lumar on the coverage there. It's more that is the safety. Gone through a lot of adversity, Lisa, someone that we talked about relentlessly, but just doing a nice job running the route for the receiver and really giving Patterson nowhere to fit that window throw in.
He's had no windows. They've all have been closed here by this Indiana defense, and there's another case. I mean, wrapped up by 4 defenders, maybe a pickup of 1. Now Boykin the first to get.
A lot of cleanup going on by Devin Boykin, perimeter guy. Play 5 defensive backs, you expect them to float into the box, being physical. This is the defense that got challenged after that opener against Old Dominion going into Kennesaw State, and they responded emphatically. You see the numbers. They know how to flow to the football. Defense that Aiden Fisher says is proud to be stood on. TFL's tackles for loss, excitement just flying around.
They had 14 tackles for loss last week against Kennesaw State, a couple of sacks. Forced Kennesaw State into 7 punts. They already have 5 takeaways here on the season. And out of bounds on that pass attempt. Complete to Droughty Jr. But couldn't bring it down, couldn't get a foot down. It brings up 4th down.
The boundary corner, D'Angelo Pons, the second-team All-American, 6 career interceptions. Doing a nice job as we see. Out of bounds before he can even catch the football. That's Pons understanding where he is on the field. He didn't even wait for the official to signal out of bounds. He already knew.
I get the feeling that maybe Jonathan Brady could bust one open here tonight. Already has a 91-yard punt return. He gets tripped up by Nick Yatsko. A punt of 43, a return of 5. Hoosier offense back to work when we come back. All right, some of the 1990s bowl teams, a reunion and honor here in the break. 1990, 91, 93 bowl team members being honored for the Peach Bowl, the Copper Bowl, and the Independence Bowl. Former players recognized here in the second quarter from the south end zone, and all those teams coached by Bill Mallory.
Football was just in the blood in the Mallory family. Something that Coach Kurt talked about returning to Bloomington, said, "This is home for me." And it sure was home for winning to all the success that Coach Bill Mallory had with those Hoosier teams.
They don't move as fast for some reason as they did in the 90s.
That's why they tried to rush them on before we went to break.
If you're wondering what the delay is, that's the delay. No delay on this move. Kaylon Black breaks it open and is brought down near the 35-yard line, a gain of 30.
There's always a starting point for every explosive play. And that's right guard Bray Lynch right there. Comes off the double team, flatlines the defender, and opens it up for Kaylon Black to get the crowd involved. A nice job by the double team staying connected, and then the sense of urgency to come off and springboard Black into a big run.
That's Caleb Harrison basically saving a touchdown run for Indiana State. Mendoza slings it again. Cooper Jr. already has a couple of touchdowns in the first half. Did he get a third? It's a gain of 18 and another first down pickup.
A week ago, it was 13 targets to Elijah Surratt. But there's not something that says they have to go to Surratt all the time. So far, taking advantage of the matchup that Omar Cooper Jr. has, the Indianapolis native, doing some heavy damage in this first half.
The fifth straight red zone drive. They've scored on the first 4. Mendoza, 15 of 16 here to open up. Mendoza, touchdown catch. Holden stays. His first touchdown as a Hoosier.
One thing that I love about the tight end position, especially in this offense, Riley Nowakowski talked about it. We're an extension of the offensive line, and yes, that is true. But if you just stay patient, your time will come. And Mendoza finds his tight end right there, wide open, scot-free. And the senior gets in for the touchdown. Back-to-back weeks that tight ends get a touchdown for the Hoosiers.
Radicic for the extra point. Perfect in his career, perfect here tonight. 31-0 advantage for Indiana. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Folks are feeling good here on this Friday night in Bloomington. The home team up big, 31-0 against the Indiana State team out of the Missouri Valley coming into tonight. 2-0 on the season. First time they've been had a 2-0 start since 1986. And we got a touchback here. But this offense has been so good. And Omar Cooper Jr. has been on the receiving end of a lot of those passes tonight.
They've gone to him early and often, and one thing that you're going to find as a common denominator, by the time he catches the ball, it's a little bit of time before the defenders can even rally to him. Once again, just finding Omar Cooper for the touchdown time and time again. The connection is live and well in Bloomington.
7 catches, 87 yards, a couple of touchdowns, but Mendoza's numbers are eye-popping. And in fact, quarterback success is something that you find in every stop in a Curt Cignetti team.
It's been the cornerstone of everything he's done at every place that he's gone. I've had a chance to play with one of those quarterbacks, Ben DiNucci, who was at James Madison with Cignetti. So just speaking to the development that goes on with Cignetti and his staff.
Now this defense is just hawking, getting in the backfield. That time it's Ratcliffe. Mendoza's numbers, I mean, when I say they're eye-popping, absolutely fantastic. 16 of 17 in the air, already 200 plus passing yards. The 3 passing touchdowns. By the way, Indiana still has not thrown an interception yet this year. Curtis Rourke was the latest quarterback to benefit from the Curt Cignetti system. Isaiah Jones making the play.
Love what I saw from Jamari Sharp there. The field corner defeats the block, makes himself big and available to then crash in on the ball carrier. This defense just staying together, being cohesive in every one of their movements, and it's showing. They've put up absolutely phenomenal effort so far in this first half.
It's 3rd and 15. Anderson back to throw and gets just a mouthful of Isaiah Jones for another sack for this Indiana defense and a loss of 8.
Isaiah Jones, a guy who got his first sack, solo sack against Old Dominion, and gets number 2 for the Hoosiers. Football is in his blood. Dad played at Ohio State back in the 90s. Has to be a proud dad moment where son is balling.
Now 3 total sacks for this defense tonight, all coming on 3rd down. They're bringing the heat. And it brings up 4th and 23. And another 3rd and out for Indiana State.
0 back for the Hoosiers.
Jonathan Brady is waiting at midfield. Backs it up to about the 35. He's got some room to move across the 50. Some space and a chance. That's all he needs. And brought down at about the 35-yard line. A punt of 49, a return of 27.
We already talked about Elisa with Brady. It's a guy in week 1, 91 yards, punt return for a touchdown. What surprised me, though, is that that wasn't the longest in school history. It was just the 4th longest in school history, but he's lightning in a bottle, and he can change the course of a game quickly.
Yeah, anytime you get up in the 90s, right? It's
hard to argue with.
Yeah.
They had some electric guys that the Hoosiers, I'm thinking of Shane Wynn in particular, short guy that was fast and barely could see him at times.
Mendoza fakes the pass, then decides to go Cooper's way. Straight down the sideline. Someone forgot about Omar Cooper Jr. and brings him down inside the 5. Alex Rose saving the touchdown. A gain of 31.
The Hoosiers just getting whatever they want. I love what Mendoza did. Surratt came open for just a quick second, just the shoulder turn and the illusion that he was going there, and then dropped it off to Cooper for another big gain.
And a timeout here for Indiana State. With that catch, Cooper's over 100 receiving yards. A 30-second timeout, and we'll be back. Indiana driving in the red zone once again, and up ahead 31-0 behind a All-American performance here tonight by their quarterback, Fernando Mendoza. And this guy as well, tonight's Power Performance sponsored by Stanley Steemer. He's been so good, we're giving out the Power Performance here in the first half because he puts up game numbers like that in the first half.
But it's not difficult. It's just getting to the open guy and allow him to do work. And Cooper Jr. doing some major work, just steaming this defense, no pun intended. Nice job from number 3.
10-2 there on the sideline. On 1st and goal. Fade route, pass caught. Jonathan Brady's first Indiana touchdown.
At this point, it just does not matter. Whoever Mendoza looks at and targets, it's going to be complete. You might as well take it to Vegas and book it because he's been that on target so far in this one. This is just a rhythm throw. Throws the ball before Brady's head is even back to track the football. That's just a lot of trust and a lot of chemistry and a lot of game reps, something that Coach Shanahan says will come with time.
Yeah, Jonathan Brady out of California, the late pickup in the summer because Michigan's Tyler Morris got hurt. They were expecting him, to fill a big role at the wide receiver spot. They picked up Brady. He's picked up a punt return touchdown and now his first receiving touchdown of his Indiana career. Well, this Indiana offense again scoring in the red zone. They're completely perfect. They've been fantastic in this first half, and they lead 38-0 against an undermanned FCS opponent, Indiana State, here tonight. And looking back at this Jonathan Brady touchdown, he's got a little flair at the end of this one.
But when you're so athletic, you can turn around and clear some sideline boards and then put a smile on the face of those protecting you and then jump back over. Sometimes I wonder what it's like to be under 200 pounds.
That's just showing off. Jonathan Brady. From Merchants Bank Field at Memorial Stadium, Jared Thomas, the Northwestern captain, Lisa Byington. We got Melanie Ricks on the sideline. Mendoza's been fantastic, 18 of 19. That is almost a 95% completion rate, on pace for a program record for a single game completion rate. I harken back to the Western Illinois game. Get to that in a second. We've got Michigan football here coming up. Bryce Underwood leads the Wolverines against Central Michigan tomorrow, plus Kirk Ferentz. Maybe a history-making one. Maybe becoming the Big Ten's all-time winningest coach. All part of a football tripleheader tomorrow on the Big Ten Network. and the Fox Sports app.
Lisa, if Ferentz gets that done, that would be the 64th team that he's beat in his time in Iowa City as head coach. Someone that I competed against in my time in Northwestern, just a class act through and through.
Yeah, the hunt for 206 is on. Coming up tomorrow, we'll have that for you on the Big Ten Network. And a good extra effort by Ples Lawrence to pick up the first down for Indiana State. Well, Kirk Ferentz, with one more win, will pass Woody Hayes for the most by a Big Ten head coach. They take on UMass. Kind of a cool thing. Anthony Herron's going to be on the call. He played a couple of years for Hayden Fry, a couple of years for Kirk Ferentz as the head coach. One of those rare Iowa players that got the opportunity to play for both of those guys. And Anthony Herron will be on the call with Mark Followell and Danny Rogers, and he was part of Kirk Ferentz's win #1, and then maybe in the booth he'll be a part of the record-breaking win.
And it's so interesting that you bring up Herron's career. It was actually his best season under Ferentz in 2000, getting all Big Ten honorable mention. So I would imagine Herron has a lot of praise for Coach Ferentz and being the leader of men that he was in his time in Iowa City.
Farrell makes the stop on Lawrence.
To start this drive, Lisa, it was the Sycamores getting the ball to one of their best playmakers in Ples Lawrence, who actually got their first down of the game. So maybe that can springboard them into some positivity.
Here's Patterson, has a lane, decides to take it, and just crushes right up against Farrell. And just short of the first down. By the way, I'm impressed at your Anthony Herron research, by the way. I wasn't just going to let that go through.
I saw
no
that
comment.
The defensive lineman was going to be in the booth, and I didn't want to hold any hostility toward him because he was a great player. But this offensive lineman and defensive lineman, many of duels in the trenches, but love what Herron does for football and in the broadcast.
You can call him man. You don't have to be so formal, Mr. Herron. That one coming up for you on Big Ten Network tomorrow. He's hit. Incomplete pass. Kellen Wyatt all over it. His first year at Indiana. And Wyatt, a transfer out of Maryland.
It was someone that Brian Haynes said came in to an open defensive end spot and just made the transition very seamless. A week ago, career high, 9 tackles, tied a career high for 2.5 TFLs. And then there, as he pulls the jersey down, seeing himself on the Jumbotron, getting to the quarterback. Turnover on downs.
That's the ultimate flex, when you can look at the Jumbotron and watch your work right after it happens.
It's all about the theatrics. You have to make it seem like you're looking at the scoreboard incredulously, trying to see where you are for the pictures, those Kodak moments.
As we're wrapping up the first half, what's your biggest takeaway from Indiana's first half?
They've gotten anything they wanted. The only seepage in the armor was that last drive offensively for the Sycamores, giving up the first down of the game. So far, spotless for the Hoosiers.
And Mendoza, only with the one incompletion, decides to go on the ground this time. He scored the first touchdown for Indiana on the ground, a pickup of 8. Mark Cooper Jr. is back on the field here, by the way, for Indiana. We saw him getting 10-2 after the last offensive series.
But it's an interesting development. The Hoosiers staying focused while they have success there on that last drive offensively. The Sycamores got a first down.
Timeout, Indiana State, second charge. 30 seconds.
All right, the Indiana State will use its second timeout. Right at the 2-minute timeout. And they'll reset the game clock to 2:01.
Coach Mallory trying to savor every second that he possibly can. Banking on his defense, rallying to the football, maybe getting into a 3rd and longer situation. But you can't take the timeouts with you, so why not use them?
Oh, right. Even when you got the 2-minute timeout.
Even when you have that.
Curt Cignetti looking for his team to go 3-0. After the week 2 results against Kennesaw State, said, I'm happy we made progress from week 1 to week 2. But the performance was not clean. He's dwelling, we heard his interview with Melanie Ricks, dwelling on some of those penalties here in the first half. That certainly doesn't fall in the category for him for clean football. Like you have said, offensively and defensively, they have pretty much had their way. Here's Hemby. Picks up the first down. And now here is the 2-minute timeout with 1:56 left to play. Indiana University's official mascot, Hoosier the Bison, is back. They're putting him to work after nearly a 60-year hiatus, shooting off T-shirts, wearing beach bum shirts, entertaining the crowd.
I don't know what's more impressive, Lisa, the Bison standing the test of time since 1965, or the landing when they revealed him back in the opener.
Brought him, yeah.
Dominion.
Skydiving almost, made his debut against Old Dominion on August 30th here at Memorial Stadium. 1st and 10 after the 2-minute timeout. Mendoza sits in the pocket, floats, hit Omar Cooper Jr. A hat trick in the first half.
It's just the Hoosier bundle. In week 2, it was Elijah Surratt that went for 3 touchdowns, and then Omar Cooper Jr. in week 3 going for the trifecta. I would imagine if you play defense for the Sycamores, I know you want to see where Surratt is, but I think at this point you have to pinpoint where number 3 is for the Crimson and Cream football team, doing damage again.
Mendoza, 19 of 20, 270 yards, 5 passing touchdowns. Don't forget about the rushing touchdown to open up the game. 1 incompletion, and his main target, Cooper, 149 yards and the 3 scores in the air.
But back at Cal, it was 10 games to tie. That's Mendoza with Aaron Rodgers and Gail Gibbert for 250-yard passing games. 10 in his career at Cal, and he got number 1 in IU with another rope to Omar Cooper Jr.
When I said that Omar Cooper Jr. had his best year last year, 28 catches, almost 600 yards for the season, he might get that in this game here tonight. I feel like it's trending in that direction.
Safe to say his ears were itching. He heard you talking about him.
Indiana, 3 touchdowns on their last 6 snaps, by the way. And a touchback. Tonight's drive summary, sponsored by Kia Indiana, has done so much scoring. We're only going to highlight just the second quarter scoring for you, Jared Thomas.
I'm going to put my Curt Cignetti hat on and say this just isn't good enough. The field goal on there, he wants that to be 4 for 4.
Stop it. You know, so much talk about this Indiana offense. Let's flip the script. Indiana defense, 10 tackles for loss in the first half. No 3rd down conversions that they've allowed, and they've stopped Indiana State on 2 4th downs here so far. Look at, he's miserable, and both sides are getting it done.
To your point about Brian Haynes' defense, as you see Coach Cignetti just eyeing the clock, seeing the motions of everyone on the football field. This is a defense that is gap controlled and sound, which means everyone has a gap, but he gives the defensive line freedom to have some say-so in where they go as far as slipping a block or jumping out of their gap to go make a play, because after week 1, he said, you're never going to get your name called by just being blocked in magnets to the offensive line. And so far in these last couple of weeks, tonight still pending, the defensive line has played scot-free with a lot of freedom.
And 2nd and 8. Outside pass. Push out of bounds short of the first down to Zach Traudy Jr. Just a couple of catches coming into tonight. And his second catch of the night brings up 3rd down.
When a guy like Elijah Owens is out, and that's a guy for the Sycamores who set the freshman running record with 598 yards as a quarterback last season. That's one less guy as far as being dynamite in the run game that the Hoosiers have to worry about.
On 3rd and 6, picked off. Farrell, the bobble game and an INT. His 2nd of the season.
This is a guy, Amari Farrell, who is a ball magnet. We talk about D'Angelo Ponds and what he does with the 6 career interceptions. That's number 6 for Amari Farrell. You see him jumping in front of that route right there. Makes it difficult, bobbles it once, twice. And as he goes down to the turf, is it enough? Does he pin it against his body and keep it from hitting the turf? That's a bang-bang call, I must say.
Did he complete it? They're going to give it to him. His second interception. Remember, he had one in week 1 against Old Dominion. 6 career picks. Really made that jump last year. Almost 50 tackles for the season. Had 4 interceptions last season. 1
in the opener last year, 1 against UCLA, and then 2
Ruling on the
against
field was an
Michigan State.
interception. After an expedited video review, the pass was incomplete.
Yeah. Was wondering, it took a bit, but they went back to review it. You could see he wasn't completing the catch at the very end, and this is a great time to bring in our rules analyst, Mike Pereira.
And the best part of the play, Lisa, to me, is that they used an expedited review. They didn't go to the monitor. They didn't take the 2 or 3 minutes. On the field, you could see that he's got the ball in his legs. That's not control. Then he hits the ground, ball pops out. But it got done quickly, and I think college is doing more of that, and I think that's a good thing.
We agree. You know, the faster the game, Mike, the better.
Mike wowing us with the breakdown and also the 3-piece suit. Handkerchief,
look, Mike Pereira's
tie.
always bringing it. Here's Brady. We'll let it bounce and roll. Picks it up at the 15. Brady has basically decided to give it a go on every single punt here tonight. A punt of 56, a return of 6. Tomorrow, Big Ten Tailgate is live from Michigan. And a big day here for the network. Pre-game festivities, a conversation with Bryce Underwood, Samaj Morgan. Then the countdown to kickoff brings you the latest from around the conference before the action begins. It all starts tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. That conversation we talk about with Underwood and Morgan, really kind of the first time that Underwood kind of reveals himself, you know, one of the talented freshmen here in the league and in the country. So really unique access and content for Tailgate. You want to check it out. Coming up tomorrow. Hamby on the carry, brings up 2nd down.
One thing for everyone to pay attention to, those watching at home, this is an offense that in back-to-back weeks rushed for over 300 yards on the ground. And today, they have been proficient in the pass game. So when you look ahead to the conference schedule that's coming up, one that's going to be a hurdle, but it is nice to see that your team, if you're a Hoosier fan, is well-balanced in how they can attack you, whether it be on the ground or through the air.
Hate to break it to Hoosier fans, this Indiana streak has ended here. 7 drives, 7 scores, Jared Thomas.
They got whatever they wanted in that first half, Lisa.
They've shut out this Indiana State offense. They have poured in 45 points on the offensive side, and Melanie Ricks is with Coach Cignetti.
Thanks, Lisa. Coach, you've talked about your team's need to limit mistakes. How do you feel about their execution in the first half?
Well, I think the defense has been dominant. They gave up their first down with 4 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter, I believe. You know, special teams has been good aside from the penalties are a negative there, but offense made a lot of explosive plays. They're taking some chances, Indiana State. So, I mean, got to play the 2nd half.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Oh, she got a smile at the end.
They come few and far between.
It is. Way to go, Melanie Ricks. After the break, we'll head into the studio. Mike Hall, Howard Griffith, Marcel Reese.
Here's what good things are. Fernando Mendoza has more rushing yards on this play than Indiana has in the entire game. Indiana State, I should say. They have 0. He got 8 there. He has more points on that play than Indiana State has in the entire game.
Be nice.
I think Indiana's going to win. Hear me out. I think they will. Hi there, glad to have you in our Chicago studios. Mike Howard and the Professor. It is a blowout for the Hoosiers, off to a great start in this game. And offensively, Marcel, I mean, what is there to complain about for IU?
Absolutely nothing, to answer your question. That is the short answer. What I'll say is this. In this first 3.5 weeks of the season, we've seen a little bit of everything from the Indiana Hoosiers offense. And today, Fernando Mendoza has been the show. He's been leading it. You've seen it all. From the red zone that thought there was going to be a question in the first week, we've seen him run it, call his own number. We've seen him stand in the pocket with composure, find his targets, deliver really accurate balls. And here, getting into the playmakers' hands early and letting them do the rest of the work. Finding the end zone. This Indiana offense is hitting on all cylinders. We saw them run for over 300 yards the first 2 weeks, and now we're seeing the gambit of the passing game.
You know what I love about that first clip that he ran in for the touchdown was the fact that he went through his entire progression. Nothing was there. Instead of taking the sack, he was able to use his legs, scramble. That'll bode well for them as the season moves on.
The statistics defensively, though, are outrageous. They've given up 0 points, 10 total yards in 30 minutes of football.
It's been a little bit of an issue, but the Indiana's playing well defensively, and I think what it ultimately comes down to is building that, continue to build the confidence. I continue to talk about this in non-conference, but this is the reality of it. This is Indiana team is a good football team, and they're showing it.
I'd like to be in a fly on the wall in this locker room, because I guarantee you, Kirk Cignetti is finding something to complain about and energize his team.
4 penalties will do it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
You found the secret right there. Fernando, by the way, his first 14 passes were completed. Fernando, you look marvelous. All right, we got more coming up on our halftime show here. Big Ten previews. We got conference games that we're going to get to this weekend, but also there's history coming up potentially with Kirk Ferentz in Iowa. We got another ball game coming up right after this one. It is UCLA looking for their first win of the year, taking on the Lobos. That's next here on the Big Ten Network. Howard, it has been a struggle for UCLA. They lost both of their first 2 games. What do you expect to see in tonight's matchup?
You want to see them start to build some momentum, to start to get into a rhythm, particularly on the offensive side in the pass game. But as you mentioned earlier, it's about them being able to run the football. They've got to control the line of scrimmage tonight.
Howard, you used the correct word. It's rhythm, rhythm, rhythm. You have to stay on track, ahead of the sticks if you're the UCLA Bruins offense, and you have to hand the ball off and run the ball efficiently well. And that'll open up for some more explosive plays, take a little pressure off your young quarterback, and allow your defense to get some rest so they can play well.
Yeah, through 8 quarters this year, UCLA has 33 points combined that they scored. Again, the game you're watching, Indiana has 45 in 2 quarters tonight alone. That'll wrap up what's happening today. But on Saturday, 13 more games to get to involving Big Ten teams. There's a look at the big board where you see every single one of them. And the first one up there on the upper left will be on the Big Ten Network. That is the top 25 ranked Michigan Wolverines taking on Central Michigan. Marcel, this is a Wolverine team that also coming off a loss. They lost to top 20 ranked Oklahoma last week. What do they need to show you tomorrow?
Again, another team that has to run the football. They have a young quarterback in Underwood who they want to get started. He's dynamic, but once he gets comfortable, that's when he's going to be at his best, playing his best, being able to use his legs to extend plays, find his playmakers, get them the ball. But that offensive line is going to have to take over and set the tone for this team and also hand the football, especially without your head coach this week. Yeah. You're going to have to be able to neutralize some of that leadership gap by handing the football off, getting in a rhythm, and then playing efficiently.
You know something about leadership.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
Just saying.
I'll tell you what, when you look at this team and you look back to what happened last week, one of the things that happened in that game is there were some mental mistakes. There were some situations where guys were just a second slow, whether it was a blitz pickup, whether it was an offensive lineman getting up to the next level. Seeing some of those things get cleaned up is going to be an important part of this. Being at home should be able to help them out with that.
Michigan opens the day on the Big Ten Network tomorrow. The day ends with us in Iowa City for a chance to see history. Iowa and Kirk Ferentz will take on UMass. If the Hawkeyes get the win, that will be number 206 for Ferentz, passing Woody Hayes and giving him more wins than any Big Ten head coach ever.
Yeah, it's really impressive. And I'll go back to our first year 19 years ago when we had a chance to go to Iowa. It was our first opportunity. We were meeting with the press before we were going to have an opportunity to watch practice. And I can tell you at that point, there were people that were questioning the way
that's wild.
He coached the game and what was going on. Yeah. And he's been able to stay the course, do it his way, and he's really been productive and outstanding, and it's going to be a great honor when it finally happens.
Watching Kirk Ferentz just be steadfast in the way that he coaches the game, the way that he leads a group of men has been absolutely impressive, and it's going to be a special moment when he does surpass that number.
The epitome of consistency, right? It feels like they're such a similar team every year.
In an era when it's all about egos, he doesn't have one.
No, not at all. All the interviews he's talked about, he's constantly downplaying, and he's excited to get the talk about him breaking the record over. Yeah, you know what? I think Indiana State's outnumbered right now. That's a defensive sack. They've had 3 of them so far. 45-0 India. I can relate to feeling outnumbered.
Just call it what it is.
Reminder, Saturday, 4 football games you can watch on the Big Ten Network. Starts off with Michigan, then in the afternoon, either Michigan State or Rutgers, and in primetime, Iowa, as Kirk Ferentz goes for the all-time Big Ten coaching wins record. Make sure you join us on Saturday. As for your game you're watching, well, these 2 schools are 59 miles apart on a map. Sure seem further apart on a football field, huh? Blowout so far for IU. Lisa, Jared, and Melody, back after this.
Tonight's Big Impact Research takes us to Indiana University, where researchers are improving the health of one of the globe's most important pollinators, honeybees. Bees play a vital role in human food security and the agriculture industry in the U.S. and beyond. By studying the bacteria in and around the bees, researchers have identified that some bacterial microbes provide nutritional benefits to developing bees, which can help strengthen the declining population. All right, back here at Indiana University, the sun has set here on this Friday night. And under the Friday night lights, Curt Cignetti and this crew absolutely dominating, 45-0. Moments beginning here this second half. The return from Rochelle is stopped at about the 15-yard line. All right, 45-0 here at the start of the third quarter. Jared Thomas, a former Northwestern captain, Lisa Byington. We got Melanie Ricks on the sideline too. A lot of superlatives, to say the very least, here for Indiana here in this first half.
It was quite simple in that first half. That was a lot of bulletin board material that offensively and defensively the Hoosiers put up. So I know the way that Cignetti leads, he's expecting a lot of the same in the second half.
Probably laced right into him, right?
Very few words at that.
That's right. That's right. All right, this Indiana defense pitching a shutout here so far. And the first series here of this third quarter. It's an offense here for Indiana State that's only picked up 1 first down here in the first half. 10 total yards of offense. And running into a crowd is Lawrence, trying to push it through. A gain of 5, gets about midway to the sticks. Your first half stats. These are real numbers, and it tells the story of the true mismatch of the first half.
The 270 passing yard stands out to me because it's over that 250 passing yard mark I talked about in that first half and what he was able to do in multiple games with that type of effort at Cal. But it's the 5 touchdown passes as well that you can't see. A career high last week against Kennesaw State, and then outdoes the career high with another career high with 5 here tonight, and still counting.
Against FCS opponents, but this Indiana State offense had been averaging almost 40 points per game, but going nowhere on that play.
Talked about it so many times, this Hoosier team, as they go into the rest of the season, you want to leave non-conference play with a great taste in your mouth as you look ahead, because those are the habits, that's the identity of your team that you're going to lean on when times get a little bit tougher with some of those Big Ten Conference foes coming up.
3rd and 8. They're 0 for on 3rd downs. Forced to throw, keeps pushing back. It's Kamara, bats down the pass and incomplete. Brings up 4th down.
I love that effort from Mike Heil. Kamara, 10 sacks a season ago. It was him and Aiden Fisher doing a twist game. It was the Mike linebacker first. You see it to the right of your screen. And then Kamara loops underneath and is relentless to the quarterback. One reason that so many for the Hoosiers were excited when he decided to come back, because that effort last year landed him 4th in the Big Ten with 10 sacks. The first time for a double-digit sack getter in 16 years.
Yeah, the second most pressures on a quarterback last year in the FBS. 8 drives for this Indiana State offense and just 1 first down. And that ball will roll to about the 28-yard line. A punt of 55. And Fernando Mendoza will go back to work. 19 of 20 in the first half. 270 yards, 5 passing touchdowns. And they're doing the Mendoza switcheroo. It's not going to be Fernando. He's going to stay on the sideline. It's going to be his little brother, Alberto. And it's Alberto Mendoza through the hands of Surratt. You know, we didn't see Alberto until late in the 4th quarter last week. How much does that surprise you with that switch?
But there's some context that's important there, and that was because his brother Fernando got hit late out of bounds, and it was only then that Coach Cignetti decided to put in Alberto. But what does Alberto do? Comes in and throws a touchdown. So not much drop-off between the Mendoza brothers.
Last week, of course, they set a little bit of history. One incomplete pass, and then the next play is a handoff here to Black as Glass trips him up. A gain of 8 for number 8. That shoulder pad fixed. You know, the only active set of brothers to share the same quarterback room in the FBS. And they're reunited since their days at Columbus High School in Miami, Florida. And of course, last week, set a little bit of history, becoming the first set of brothers to throw a touchdown in the same game since 2015.
And the thing I love about that the most that you just talked about, Lisa, all of that history is phenomenal, but it was actually the first time for both of them throwing the touchdown for the Hoosiers. So some history made on the same day, in the same way for the Mendoza brothers.
Gain of 6. And another first down. So older bro watching on the sideline, younger bro now playing. Still the same 3 rotation of backs right now to start the 3rd quarter. BB is in. And Cooper Jr. is off and running. Make it 4 touchdowns on the night. Doesn't matter if it's Alberto or Fernando tossing to him.
My old offensive line coach used to say the defense is just X's on the field, so don't give them more praise than they need to because they're all defenders. For the Hoosiers, it's all just efficiency and completions at the quarterback position. Don't worry about what number it is. If the last name is Mendoza, it's synonymous with touchdown pass.
58 yards on that pass play. The 2nd passing touchdown of Mendoza, Alberto Mendoza's career. Extra point is good. Good work, little bro.
Week 2, he finds Charlie Becker in the end zone. Week 3, a couple handoffs, finds the open window, and there's that man again, Omar Cooper Jr. There's only one thing better than number 3, the receiver for the Hoosiers, and that's touchdown number 4 for Omar Cooper Jr. It was decided quickly after he caught that touchdown pass for Alberto that he was taking it to the house, and then signals to the crowd, that's number 4. Put some respect on my name.
It ties the program record for receiving touchdowns with James Hardy back in 2006. And this is Rochelle once again. Rochelle down the near sideline, almost to the 45. A gain of 41. Could be some program records falling here tonight, and this one ties the program record.
In a night filled with superlatives, as you said, coming into the second half. This is a night of history, and this is the type of game that springboards you into the rest of the season. You look back at this one and said, we really had our first attempt at a clean brand of football, something we talked about at the start of the broadcast. We were able to maintain it if the Hoosiers are able to do so, and this is the type of effort that Coach Cignetti was looking for from his bunch. Those special teams letting them down a little bit, because that was one area that he felt was pretty solid the first couple of weeks.
The blitz coming with Pons, the corner blitz, and wraps him up. Landino, the first to get to him.
Landino, one of those defensive linemen who got his red shirt burned in last season in the 2024 campaign. I guess when you do so much for your defensive line group, they can't keep holding you back, and they just throw you out there in the fire. And he's done a nice job for the Hoosiers.
More pressure coming. Patterson doesn't have anywhere to go. I mean, he's staring right in the face of Kamara and Boykin.
How many times have we saw Boykin trigger from the inside slot position as the defender, blitzing, getting pressure on the quarterback, being right in the face of Patterson? Once again, this defense from Brian Haynes is someone that he says, I look at defense as drawing up explosive plays to attack the offense, not just allowing the offense to attack us. And they have been in the driver's seat with that pressure all night.
A home run hitter and the fourth sack of the night.
This is what so many call a coverage sack. When the quarterback has to hitch and he's trying to let the ball go, but there's just no one to get it to. It gives guys like Landino the opportunity to pursue the quarterback and get him down for a sack. Landino make that his defensive drive there with his effort there.
The 13th tackle for loss here for Indiana. Another third and out, 3 and out. Jonathan Brady is stopped. A punt of 43, a return of 8. Hey, we got a new resident, or a return resident in the house. We're talking Hoosier the Bison when we come back. Hoosier the Bison having all kinds of good time a little bit earlier here tonight. He could do a little bit of everything. He's returned to the IU campus after nearly a 60-year hiatus. Mascot's homecoming, a result of the Bring Back the Bison Act passed by the Indiana University student body in December of 2024. Pass complete. Mekhi Jackson makes the play, and Melanie Ricks, you got more on Hoosier the Bison.
I do, Lisa. I've got a historian with me. This is Dr. I cannot, I'm sorry. Dr. Galen, Clavio. We got it. We'll figure it out. But also, he is the Associate Dean of IU Media School, a fourth-gen Bison. And again, you're a historian here today. Can you take us through the history of the Bison and how its presence came to fruition?
Absolutely. There's a long history with the Bison here at IU. It was actually the mascot back in the 1960s. But it kind of fell out of favor. The costume was kind of weird and scared kids. And so it went away for about 40 years. And then there was a little movement on campus. We had some professors, myself included, who really wanted to see it come back as a mascot. The athletic department got involved. Student government voted in favor of it. Everything came together pretty quickly. And it's great to have Hoosier the Bison back. It's been too long.
Well, and how do you feel like the renaissance of Hoosier has been received by fans and on campus?
People have been almost uniformly positive about it. I mean, the students I think, wanted something of their own. IU has so much tradition, which is great. But the Bison is something brand new, and it belongs to the students today. And the fans like me that have been around, have been alumni of IU, I think are really embracing it because there's a history with it here, not just at IU, but in the state of Indiana.
And especially when it comes to kids, I feel like kids are the ones that really enjoy seeing mascots up close. You said 60 years ago he was a little bit scary, but how do you feel like the kids are reacting to him these days?
They love it. I've got 2 girls under 10 myself, and they just think he's the cutest thing. We've seen lines for the Hoosier the Bison with kids coming into Assembly Hall and getting autographs with him. So that's one of the big things. You want to make it fun for kids, and having a big stuffed animal basically running around on the sidelines is a great way to do that.
Well, and speaking of, what did Hoosier say to his kid before he came to the game tonight?
I don't know. That's an interesting question. Though it's funny because I think what you say to kids is like, this is a fun thing to have around, and it's really exciting to have somebody out there like leading cheers, and it's just a great time all the way around, I think.
Well, to answer that question, he said, "Bye, son, Lisa."
See, I blew the joke.
Oh. No. We threw a flag on your joke, Melanie.
False start.
Great execution, though, Melanie.
That or a false start.
Still second out.
That is not going to make that man happy. Already frustrated with some of the penalties here in the first half. Khalil Benson, who was unavailable for Indiana in the first half, now at right tackle here in the second half for the Hoosiers. And Holden Stays, who picked up a touchdown earlier, nearly picks up the first down there. Well, during our interview, it's BB who took a hard hit here.
I saw it right on the sideline as he goes down to the turf. He immediately grabs at that knee right there. Not sure what happened, but one of those 3 parts of that running back monster that they have coming out of the backfield. Hopefully he is okay.
Picks up the first down. It's Kaylon Black. Just chewing up some yards here on the ground. Drew Covington. It's the play, a gain of 13.
Kaylon joined IU last season after 4 years at James Madison. One of the journeymen that came over with Coach Cignetti and this staff, and has been a nice addition to the running back room.
Mendoza. It's in and out of the hands there of Jackson, who's been targeted a few times at the beginning here of this third quarter.
I just don't know if Mekhi Jackson got his head around quick enough that Alberto would have liked, just because that ball was on rhythm. As soon as Alberto got to the back of his drop, he already dropped it in the bucket, but Jackson just didn't look back and make eye contact with his quarterback.
If you're just joining us, Alberto Mendoza starting the second half, the younger brother in the place of big brother. We'll go on the ground again to Black. Takes it down the left sideline. Jaden Childers with the tackle. And Black churning up some yards. A gain of 9, and Indiana now officially over 500 yards of offense here tonight.
Lisa, the 8th time under Coach Cignetti that they've done that. Talk about high-octane offenses being efficient with their yards. When you go over that 500 mark, that is impressive.
It's 3rd and 1. Yeah, 3 games and 3 games over 500 plus yards. Just going to add to it. Alberto Mendoza moving his feet. Glass with the tackle. And some smiles from Fernando.
One thing that offensive coordinator Mike Shanahan talked about was more so about plays being called. I said, Coach, do you save plays for later in the season if you don't like what you're getting? He said, no, we fully empty out the arsenal, but we do bank some reps for things that don't get called. We do them in practice, so we just have the stimulus. Right now, I think they're banking personnel as well, something that could be key as the season goes on.
It's Kobe Martin who's in at the running back spot for the first time, swings it over. It's Brady for touchdown number 2. A 12-yard score, and the Hoosiers keep rolling in the third.
Something that the business world talks about is having SOPs, system of policies, where you can plug and play no matter where that establishment is. Right now we're seeing an establishment of SOPs from this offense. It doesn't matter who's at quarterback. He gets back there, gets into the control seat, and dishes and times the defense all the way down for another Hoosier score.
How about the Mendozas combined? 7 touchdown passes, 1 rushing touchdown.
It's a Mendoza affair. Big brother proud of younger brother. Another touchdown, number 2 for Alberto.
Big Ten Plus gives you access to more live Big Ten games, and tomorrow you can see the #1 ranked Indiana men's soccer team open conference play against Michigan. Download the Big Ten Plus app today. It's always game on. This is soccer royalty in these parts. Always been a basketball state, and now after last year, a football school, a lot of people say. The college football playoff, the best years in school history. We will check in with Melanie Ricks with an injury update. What you got, Mel?
Well, Lisa, we saw him go back to the medic tent for just a few minutes. After that, he did emerge. He was limping a bit gingerly. He went to the locker room. As of now, no official health update, but I will keep you posted if we do hear anything more about Lee Beebe. Again, he limped to the back, walking a bit gingerly, and we saw that he may have hurt his knee. It looks like a lower body injury, but we're still waiting for the official confirmation, Lisa.
All right, thanks, Mel. And Lee Beebe and Hippie and Black again, the heavy rotation of their 3 backs, and once again Kurt Cignetti. You know, that's one of the values and the benefits of having more than 1 back. You know, the numbers are going to play that you're not going to have 3 healthy backs throughout an entire football season.
That's one thing you talked about, was the lack of depth. That's not one position that they have that at, but something to pay attention to as the season goes on. Another TFL in the backfield. Tyree Tucker and company escorting the ball carrier backwards, not allowing them to gain some momentum.
Indiana State going backwards, now 2nd and 14. Again, wrapped up and nowhere to go. Well, 3 Indiana defenders. Jamari Sharp leading the way, but hobbling off. This is where you got to make the decision, right? You're up 59-0 when you start pulling some of these starters. You got Illinois coming up next, the conference season coming up next. This defense has absolutely throttled Indiana State. 14 tackles for loss and only 1 first down allowed. And 3rd and 14. Well short of the first down. A pickup of 6, but a flag on the play.
Lisa, before we get to that flag that was on the field, that's something to pay attention to, as you said, in that defensive secondary backfield, only because they've already done some shuffling in that position room. So any more shuffling puts them at even more of a disadvantage.
Downfield, number 64. That penalty has declined. Result of the play, 4th down.
Got Illinois coming up next week, an Illini team that's 2-0. They play Western Michigan tomorrow night.
That's a top 10 opponent.
Yeah, they might be doing some Friday night viewing here.
You look at that Hoosiers schedule from a season ago, they didn't face a ranked opponent, Lisa, until November. And here we are just getting September started, and the Illini already coming to town. So almost 430 yards of offense per game right now, about 49 points per game. So a foe that the Hoosiers have to be ready for.
I'm sure the Illini doing some Friday night viewing of this Hoosier team here tonight, and Indiana will be doing some Saturday night viewing tomorrow on their next week opponent. 4:13 left. Punt of 45. Return of 11. Bryce Underwood leads the Wolverines against Central Michigan. And then Kirk Ferentz looks to become the Big Ten's all-time winningest coach. All part of a football tripleheader tomorrow, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Big weekend of Big Ten football. Last weekend, the network for the first time had Ohio State and Penn State, the number 1 and 2 teams in the AP poll, on the same day for the first time on the network. And Jared Thomas this week could be a little bit of history as Kirk Ferentz is chasing win 206.
And Coach Ferentz has beaten UMass 4 other times, twice as a head coach at Maine, and then twice as a lofty linebacker at UConn.
Oh, you have done your research. You got any other nugget on Anthony Herron, who's going to be calling this game again?
Well, in that same season where he got honorable mention All Big Ten, 3 sacks, so the big fella was getting to the quarterback.
You're ridiculous. We're busy this afternoon. First down pickup for LeBron Bonds, the true freshman.
Got to see the redshirt freshman Kobe Martin, the running back out of Fishers, just north of Indianapolis, and then you see LeBron Bonds. So some young guys getting some burn in this second half. Like I said, this is always an important part of the game because young guys grow up quickly in games that are decided and help you later on in the season.
Yeah, Kobe Martin playing in his 5th career game here tonight. We were wondering how long the starters here would go when a flag comes in. Last week against Kennesaw State, it was really until the 4th quarter.
5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's Johnny with the penalty. And some of these backups now, you know, they're just, it's good experience, it's good reps, but the continuity probably isn't there right now.
But honestly, Lisa, when you look at the college football playoff, and that's something that the Hoosiers made it to last season, style points do matter, as the committee have shown. So sometimes it's about running it up, because if it comes down to 1 or 2 things of layers of differential to the next team, I think that plays a factor.
Mekhi Jackson with another catch. Gain of 6, 2nd and 9.
Mekhi Jackson, similar to Elijah Surratt, St. Francis out in Pennsylvania product, App State, Appalachian State that is, transfer. 21 starts in his days before he got to the Hoosiers. Productive wide receiver.
They were teammates over there at St. Francis, Pennsylvania. And a seam. He's open over across the 20-yard line. And Martin with a great run here for Indiana, a pickup of 22.
There's just enough out there for everyone to eat here at this Hoosier dinner table. Just watch the patience, allowing the offensive line to do their jobs, and then you see the burst. Martin understands, I get some burn in this game. Let me take advantage of it, just running like a madman possessed.
As a true freshman last year, Martin only played in a couple of games, was able to redshirt. No touchdowns yet in his career, but this drive might change that quickly. Mendoza directing traffic to Martin. Martin straight away. How about a first career touchdown? Kobe Martin.
Lisa, I'm going to tie 2 things together, and it starts with that offensive line, because I just can't help myself being an offensive lineman, but that's Khalil Benson. This is a guy that was here from 2020 to 23, and then he missed the first half, was not available in the second half, was the lead blocker on that Kobe Martin touchdown. So 2 guys that are seeing some action in the second half, putting more points up for Indiana.
Allowed to give your own lineman some love? How about giving Kobe Martin some love? He covered, by the way, the last 42 yards on the last couple of carries.
He did it quickly at that. He saw the red in the end zone and said, I have an appointment with it, and got there efficiently.
See Justice Ellison kind of chasing him down. Very talented running back for Indiana last year. He's now an offensive quality control assistant coach and enjoying this new group of running backs for this year.
But the thing that I love about this is sometimes guys that have great careers that don't go to the NFL sometimes get forgotten about, but not so much for Justice Ellison, still contributing, and one that is an important role for this offense, breaking down plays in real time, just doing an outstanding job. And the Hoosiers, 8 plays of 20-plus yards on the ground. ISU's longest play is 13 in this game tonight. So it just gives you some comparison between the two teams and how they've been able to get numerous explosive plays.
Yeah, Rochelle gets a one-arm tackle by Isaiah Jones. Speaking of Justice Ellison, the 10 touchdowns he had last year, 848 rushing yards, and now on the IU staff. What you got to do with Curt Cignetti's going to do? Well, bring in a guy who has the experience, a great leader. The guys look up to him, and now he can have moments like that on the sideline to celebrate and to teach with these new guys this year.
And truthfully, it matters. When you have a guy that's just a coach, sometimes that coach didn't necessarily play your position or he didn't go to that university, but with Justice, that's a little bit different. He is touted in this program, and he's giving back to the younger generation.
And Brock Riddle, now the backup quarterback, the backup to the backup, you could say, for Indiana State. It's a solid move by Torrey French. It's a 12-yard gain, but he ran probably about 20 to 25. And picks up a rare first down. It's first down number 2 here for this Indiana State offense. One in the first half, and right now one in the third quarter. Brock Riddle is your quarterback out of Greenwood, Indiana. Against the backups, that's Deion Brown, who is marked just short, about a yard short of the first down.
Deion Brown along with Ples Lawrence.
That's a first down pickup. So back-to-back first downs for the first time here tonight. Ryland Gandy, backup defensive back here for Indiana, making the play.
On the stop for Indiana.
He wasn't ready for the snap. Riddle was looking for the sideline for the play call.
Some insight into those second-string players coming in and not understanding how the operation goes as the final seconds of this third quarter comes to a close. Luckily for the Sycamores, they were able to pounce on that one.
This is the end of the third quarter.
It's the end of the third quarter. A big lead for the Hoosiers headed into the fourth. Start of the fourth quarter, big advantage for Indiana over Indiana State. Two teams, two schools separated about 60 miles apart. Both teams coming in with 2-0 records. Indiana State, though, hasn't faced an offense or a defense like this yet this year. Deion Brown taking the handoff.
28 on the carry, Brown.
I was going to talk about it a little bit earlier, but Deion Brown and Nick Osho complement Ples Lawrence nicely out of that backfield. Those 3 guys are going to be important for the Sycamores going forward, so why not have some success at the back part of this game?
It's a pickup of 7. And not going anywhere that time, Isaiah Jones. Already has a sack to his name here tonight. Brings up another third down, and Deion Brown hobbling off.
It's just that point in the game, body starting to break down after what is a major output just early parts of the season. So guys still finding their footing with their conditioning and just the maintenance of their bodies.
Third and 6. Pass complete but short. 4-yard gain, fourth down.
A mini test for this Hoosiers defense. It's clear that Indiana State Sycamores are going to go for this. So let's see if this young bunch of defenders
can force a turnover on downs, flying to the football as they saw the starters do.
Anthony Chung, a Wisconsin native, a redshirt sophomore, making the tackle. 4th and 2. And they'll decide to punt it.
I stand corrected.
Trots out there. Trauma's 4th year at Indiana State as the punter for the Sycamores. And Mekhi Jackson lets it go. Takes an Indiana State bounce as they field it right at the 1-yard line. Beautiful punt from Traum. A punt of 45. Indiana backed up against it. Well, it's a big number night, so you would expect some records to be set. They certainly have. 45 first half points, the most since Western Illinois back last year. Omar Cooper Jr. has tied a record with his 4 receiving touchdowns, the most since James Hardy in 2006. Fernando Mendoza, 950 completion percentage, 19 of 20. Coop Signetti watching his team try to salt away here the 4th quarter minutes. Get some valuable reps for the backups and also stay healthy.
I would even take those statistics that we saw coming back from the break a bit further for some more reflection. This team for the Hoosiers has been rolling offensively since the second half against Kennesaw State last week, where they scored 35 points in that second half. Kept up that same effort with what they did in the first with those 42 points. The Hoosiers are rolling right now.
Alberto Mendoza still your quarterback. Remember, Indiana was backed up against it with a beautiful punt coverage. The 45-yard punt, Braxton Sampson on the stop. You see Fernando Mendoza, now Alberto Mendoza, his younger brother. What are the biggest differences or maybe even similarities? What jumps out to you about those guys?
Just the fact that Alberto is just younger. I think with time and experience, these reps are going to be invaluable for Alberto. But as you look ahead for him and seeing older brother do some great things, why not learn from your older brother and be a young guy and take advantage of your opportunities when they come your way? And he's done exactly that in the last 2 weeks in particular.
Offensive coordinator Mike Shanahan says they're basically joined at the hip, as you would expect, and almost threads a beautiful pass. It wasn't intended for Mekhi Jackson.
I just don't think Mekhi Jackson expected that football to float over the hands of the defensive secondary for the Sycamores. But that just speaks to the skill set that Alberto has with that touch on his passes.
This is the first punt for Indiana this game. It comes with 11:44 left to play in the 4th quarter. That speaks to the domination for these Hoosiers against a very overmatched FCS Indiana State opponent here tonight. It's Quinn Warren, who's been the least used player here tonight for Indiana as the punter. And he's taken over again for an injured Mitch McCarthy. Warren's first punt's a good one, though. 57 yards. We'll take a quick timeout. "66 points Indiana has put up. Omar Cooper Jr. has 4 touchdowns, so he's added a lot to that 66 points. Tonight's Good Hands moment, sponsored by Allstate. How about 4 moments? Sarah Thomas has 4 touchdowns.
All 4 of them. I understand the strategy by the Sycamores. Put a lot of attention on Surratt, but the only thing they forgot to do was cover number 3 because he hurt you for 4 of them.
Snatching up all of our sponsorships, by the way. We had our Stanley Steamer performance in the first half.
I think it all started with your mention of him in that first half. He heard you, then he just kept it going there. I mean, Elijah had 3 touchdowns a week ago, 97 yards, and Omar said, I can do something a little bit better, and he did exactly that. Over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. Impressive night.
Just kind of wondered if this season would be better than last season, which was his best year here so far. And he almost basically had a season here tonight with those numbers.
All by his lonesome.
That's right. A couple of rushing touchdowns for this Indiana team. You're looking at it, and 7 receiving touchdowns for this team. Well, Cooper is 4 of the 7.
And for those watching, it's going to be easy to say, well, we didn't really do anything on the ground. And I would say you didn't have to.
Right. 3rd and 8. Here's Brock Riddle. He's got to roll away from the pressure, and on the move, the catch is made to Singleton. Really, really impressive play. Maybe one of the best plays here for this Indiana State offense.
As he rolled out, you see steps up in the pocket, gets out of the pressure, putting him under duress, puts the defenders in peril, and keeps his eyes down the field and completes one.
Yeah, it was the best play and the longest play at a gain of 17. That one over the head of no one. A couple of players to no one. Turvey again providing the pressure.
One thing that Coach Kurt Mallory talked about, the times that they've really stayed in games with these FBS schools, is they haven't turned the ball over and they've eliminated the explosive players. And one of those things was checked, but the other one not so much. They just, from the start, gave up so many explosive, and it continued all night.
In and around. And so the play calling mixed up a little bit here on this drive. Turner drops him. Pick up a 4. Caden Turner, his 4th year at Indiana. Just 19 total tackles in his career coming into tonight. It's now 3rd and 6. Riddle is wrapped up.
That was just a hey, diddle, safety up the middle. Jaja Boyd didn't even get a chance to get to the quarterback because all of his peers got there first. Coach Haynes dialing up the pressure even when the backups are in.
William DePape with the 16th tackle for loss.
And to punt for the Sycamores, 46, very strong. 2 back for the Hoosiers, Makai Jackson.
Makai Jackson still back. Now they tried to save it. It'll be a touchback. Nearly backed him up. Back-to-back punts. 8.5 minutes left to play. This guy's team's up 66 points, and you wouldn't know it. Wednesday, a star-studded volleyball doubleheader comes your way. First, Penn State battles Pitt in a top 15 showdown. Then 6th-ranked Wisconsin faces Marquette in Milwaukee. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Milwaukee's a great place to be, I hear.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Somewhere that you spend a lot of your time.
That's right. People should come visit. Come to a Bucks game if you want. Grant Wilson is the 3rd quarterback here for the Hoosiers. A transfer out of Old Dominion. And Martin is still the back here for Indiana. He's the 4th running back that we've seen. He picked up his first career touchdown of his Indiana career. Here's Grant Wilson out of Virginia. And the Old Dominion transfer, his first year at Indiana. It's his 3rd school. He's been at Old Dominion the last couple of years. Also played some football at Fordham. 14 starts, 22 career games. He comes in with a lot of experience. Listed as the 3rd string behind the Mendoza brothers. And Martin spins off a tackler. What a beautiful run. Kobe Martin showing some things.
He's already shown multiple times in that 3rd quarter alone that once he gets through that line of scrimmage, if you're trying to tackle him with just one arm, that's not going to be good enough because the velocity that he is running with is nothing to be played with.
A gain of 14. Another first down here for Indiana. We showed you the records either being tied or broken or lots of points being scored since blank. Last year, remember that Western Illinois game? Indiana won last year 77-3. This game is about as close to that game as you can get. Martin spin cycle once again. About a gain of 5. And Caden Gajewski making the play. You see the Mendoza brothers, the quarterback comparison. I mean, Fernando Mendoza. Couldn't he have been perfect? I mean, the slouch, the one incompletion.
That's probably what they're laughing about. Like, really, you got 9 passes and 3 incompletions?
Right at the sticks and stretch it for it. Mekhi Jackson.
Wilson's pass complete to 2 for Tyler Jackson.
Again, the next 3 games are tough here for Indiana. We've talked about the Illinois game, September 20th. It's the Big Ten opener. Really, if you think about the next 3 games, Illinois, at Iowa, at Oregon. Those 3 games could determine if Curt Cignetti and this squad will return to the college football playoff.
Truthfully, talking to some fans on the way into the game today, they're looking forward to those games to truly see if this team is similar to last year's team with excitement and results.
And Sean Cuno with his first carry and brought down just short of the first down. Nick Yatsko again. He's been in on some tackles, pickup of 7.
Austin Liebfried leading the way on that run play, flatlining a defender, showing that although I'm with the second string, I can still produce at a high level. Offensive lineman out of Wisconsin doing a nice job pulling out on the perimeter.
You know, Jerry DiNardo, who loves to also break down the offensive line, would just be so proud listening to this.
This is a hello to you, Jerry, coach, if you're watching.
Cuts it back, Cuno. And gains the first down.
20, Sean Cuno.
Still to come, the football doubleheader continues out west when UCLA takes on New Mexico at the Rose Bowl. That's tonight at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app.
2 things with that game,
yes.
Lisa. UCLA looking to get in the win column.
Yes.
They're starting this season 0-2 for the first time since 2019, but also the only team that hasn't scored in the first quarter. So maybe that's a good starting point for them as they play that one at home.
Here's Martin. Tripped up, he keeps going and falls forward. Yatsko again. With the stop, a gain of 17.
Let's give him a new nickname. Instead of Kobe Martin, just call him Kobe Jukebox. The joystick getting spammed as he gets out on the secondary. 1 foot in the ground, makes a guy missed, almost got a second guy to touch earth before proceeding even further.
.284 yards on the ground, 379 passing yards for this Indiana offense. Over 600 total yards. And still going. And there's Martin.
28 on the carry for Indiana.
Want some football trivia? Just ask Siri. Which coach has the most college football championships?
26, Caden Gajewski on the stop for Indiana State.
Jared Thomas, you've done research all night.
I'm gonna go Mr. Saban.
Mr. Saban.
I feel like that's a safe bet.
Bear Bryant.
Yeah. The guy before him.
Right, exactly. Martin cutting it back. He's looking for touchdown number 2, just short of the goal.
28, Kobe Martin on the carry. 32 on the stop.
Well, Siri asked the question. Siri can give us the answer, too.
We have that coming up next.
Got to go to Siri to get it. First and goal. As Jared breaks out his phone.
I'm just waiting to see if this IU offense is going to eclipse 300 rushing for the 3rd straight game. They did it the first 2.
They call Kobe. And for another touchdown, Kobe Martin. His 2nd score of the night.
it's a little thing, but it matters. He did so much work to get you all the way down there. Reward the young man and get another touchdown for him and the Hoosiers. Nice job by that young man, toting the rock all the way down the field.
Indiana has put up 73 points against Indiana State. 2 minutes and 18 left before this one is complete. Curt Cignetti knows what's coming. He wants to see better execution, and better performance, better improvement from weeks 1 to 2 to now week 3, because this is what's on the horizon. We talked about the next 3 games coming up. That big one right here, September 20th. It's been sold out for a while. In fact, the next 3 home games here for Indiana are sold out. They go to Iowa City and then to Oregon. And then you got Penn State waiting in November.
It helps when you're 11-0 at home, something that you talked about at the start of the broadcast, going into some of those home matchups in the Big Ten, but also want to bring it back to the run game, something that they can live and stand on the rest of the way. This is now 14 of 16 games under Coach Cignetti that they've gone for multiple rushing touchdowns. So they don't just do it in the air, they do it on the ground as well.
Special teams tackle, Cha-Cha Boyd. Nick Saban holds the record for the most national championships. A total of 7.
So I was right.
You were right.
For anyone thinking about texting me after that, just go ahead and unsend that
doubt
message.
In your mind. And Jared Thomas did not Google that, just for the record for everyone.
Just right here between the ears.
The 2-minute timeout is here in Bloomington. We will step aside. Hoosiers up big.
Mike Hall and Howard Griffith with you here in Chicago. I think Indiana's going to win. I said it at halftime. I stand by it, man.
You did, and I have to agree with you, but now's an opportunity for them to start to look forward to this Illinois matchup. This is going to be a great game for both teams.
Oh, man, next week. Going to be real fun for Indiana and Illinois next week. Hey, this is just the first of 2 games for us. We got UCLA and New Mexico. The Bruins trying to get their first win of the season. That's coming up in just a little bit. For now, back out to Jared and Lisa.
Oh, Mike Hall, it's so good to have a Friday night date with you. Here, 2 minutes left to play. Jared Thomas, Lisa Byington, Melanie Riggs on the sideline. Curt Cignetti on the sideline. Pensive about this game, 73-0. Indiana wrapping up there.
7 on the field.
Wednesday, a star-studded volleyball doubleheader comes your way. First, Penn State battles Pitt in a top 15 showdown. Then 6th-ranked Wisconsin faces Marquette in Milwaukee. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. The Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. So many ways you could describe Indiana's domination here tonight. One of those ways, they don't have a takeaway tonight, but yet they have 73 points.
But they sure took away the heart of Indiana State pretty early in this one.
Well played on 3rd and 2. And the pitch, a first down gain.
7, St. Louis on the carry.
Angelo St. Louis getting his first reps here of the night in the final 2 minutes. Cignetti. There's a chance to enjoy things and enjoy a night like this. He certainly has the chair to do it, I would say.
One thing that fascinated me about this was his wife actually wants to get rid of it for so many reasons, and I'll let you tell the story because no one tells a better story than you, Lisa.
Well, he got the chair like 36 years ago and hasn't let go of it. It's worn, it's faded, it's that teal color. His wife hates it, but he won't let go of it. So there's the story.
But the won't let go of it is so interesting because he talks about in the 8 coaching stops that he has, that's the go-to where he feels the most comfortable. But sitting down with him yesterday, he never feels comfortable because the Sig way is being never satisfied.
That's true.
So for him to be satisfied in that chair, it really blows my mind.
I love the fact that we talked to him about it last year. He said furniture companies were calling him when the story came out. Curt Mallory, handshake with Curt Cignetti. Indiana, the largest shutout win since October of 1901 when it was 76-0. Indiana's total yards, 680. Over 300 on the ground, 300 in the air. That includes the shutout. And 11 straight wins at home. That is a new program record.
It's called a history night right there. As this Hoosier team goes throughout the rest of this season, they look back on this game, not just this year, but years moving forward. A lot of history was made, and hopefully for them, they can build on it as they go into Big Ten play.
Absolute domination, an undermanned Indiana State team, but with eyes on the conference season here coming up next, and a ranked and very talented Illinois team is coming to town.
They just went on the road and beat Duke, something that hasn't been done on the road against an FBS opponent in a little bit for the Fighting Illini. So I know they're going to be jacked up to come into Bloomington and shake up that undefeated record for the Hoosiers at home.
The Illini play Western Michigan tomorrow night. That'll be must-see TV for these Indiana Hoosiers tomorrow night. Let's check in with Melanie, who's with Coach Sig.
Thanks so much, Lisa. Congratulations on another record-setting win for you. First off, do you have any injury update for us on Lee Beebe?
No, we don't.
Okay, well, again, congratulations on the win. You talk about playing a complete game. How close did your team come to that tonight?
I think pretty close. Defensively, the ones were dominant. The offense made plays. Some penalties on teams. Indiana State came out, played really hard early. We just had more bullets in our gun than they did. But we've definitely taken a step week 2 and week 3.
Well, and speaking of, what steps from week 3 do you want to carry over into week 4?
All the good ones.
Thanks, Coach. Congrats.
She got 2 smiles out of him, one at halftime, one at the end of the game. Our thanks to our producer, Brian Carter, our director, Doug Brown, Jared Thomas, Melanie Ricks working the sideline, Mike Pereira is our rules analyst, Ethan Cooperson, our statistician, Josh Peterson, our spotter. This has been an exclusive presentation of the Big Ten Network. Time for live game break, and Mike Hall, Howard Griffith, and Marcel Reese.
Game 1 in the books. Game 2 coming up next. Nico Iamaleava and the UCLA offense trying